Hi guys. Today we'll discuss a case that, especially in America, has sparked much discussion and various theories, some even conspiratorial. What makes it even more interesting is the fact that its main character is a very well-known actor all over the world, a Hollywood star, Jim Carrey. In recent years, Jim Carrey has disappeared from the scene, especially following some personal events that deeply affected him, such as the death of his partner, Katrina White. However, this doesn't mean that people stopped talking about him. In particular, as a result of some statements made by the actor regarding the possible existence of a world order, a very fertile ground for conspiracy theorists. They may seem like simple rumors, and yet at the beginning of September this year, Jim made a television appearance, giving an interview that reignited these theories, and he shocked America. So here is the strange and mysterious interview of Jim Carrey. As we were saying, Jim Carrey has always been an eccentric character who used humor to deal with extremely delicate topics. Just think about the movie The Truman Show. That's the clearest example of it. Although the movie is full of funny and amusing situations, it sends a very deep message about the power of the media over us, the cancellation of human dignity and privacy for the benefit of a television show and therefore profit. Today, however, we won't talk about the meaning of this movie, but about an interview that was recently given by Carrey during New York Fashion Week. Here, I won't show you the full interview to avoid copyright issues, but in the info box, I'll leave you a link where you can watch it later. What I'll do instead is explain to you what happened in those few minutes and what Jim said in front of the cameras. Just a few sentences, but if you analyze them carefully, they're unsettling and really make you think. As often happens on these occasions, the journalist Kat Sedler from E! News was welcoming celebrities from the entertainment world to interview them about the event. The interview begins with Jim Carrey literally circling around the journalist, who right from the start doesn't seem to know how to react. Up to this point, everything is normal, considering that the actor is particularly famous for his eccentricity. When he finally returns in front of her, Kat asks him what he's doing at the party, and the first answer she gets puts her in a really awkward situation. I was simply looking for the most absurd and insignificant thing I could take part in, and so here I am. You have to admit, this is truly insignificant. In situations like these, a journalist tends to downplay things and steer the conversation back in the right direction. So Kat tells him, "But Jim, it looks like you dressed up really well for the occasion. You look fantastic." And Jim's answer this time is really surreal. "No, I didn't dress up. This isn't me." Things happen and there are a lot of tetrahedrons moving together. At this point, the journalist makes another attempt to return to normality, saying that the people who were attending the party were doing so to celebrate icons, meaning fashion and style icons. From that point, Jim's answer becomes even more incomprehensible. Celebrating icons? That's the worst thing we could have come up with. I don't believe in icons and personalities. I believe that peace is superior to personalities. Beyond the invention of the heavens, beyond the red S on your chest that bullets bounce off of, I think it's something deeper than that. I think it's a field of energy that dances for itself, and I don't care. I doubt you exist, yet there's a wonderful fragrance in the air. And to conclude, Jim ends with a sentence that sums up his entire previous speech. "We don't matter, and this is not our world." Before the journalist can try again to make sense of the interview, Jim leaves and leaves her puzzled and alone in front of the camera. Well, As expected, this interview went viral within just a few hours after being broadcast, and it gave rise to numerous theories. Some say that Jim Carrey has completely lost his mind and that the death of his partner in 2015 had serious consequences on his mental health. A theory that, from a certain point of view, could be legitimate, especially considering that the actor hasn't appeared on the big or small screen for several years, that he has been set aside. But maybe reducing everything to a mental problem means oversimplifying things too much. In fact, these statements, although they may seem completely surreal, are very deep reflections that need to be interpreted. Many have assumed that Jim, with this statement, was referring to the fact that our existence is somehow controlled, that our idea of being free is just an illusion. Some mention a new world order, while others talk about the Illuminati. He has a secret that Jim knows very well, but which he can't talk about explicitly. This metaphorical language would be a way to convey this great secret to the world and to awaken humanity's consciousness. Of course, speaking in these terms is only speculation, but this theory is also supported by other television appearances by Jim. Other interviews where, in a more or less subtle way, he emphasized that our freedom is just an illusion, almost referring to a concept similar to that in the movie The Matrix. Just to be clear. Here, public opinion can easily be divided in two, between those who think these assumptions are just paranoia, and that the real reason for this interview should be attributed to the existential discomfort that Jim has been experiencing since his partner died. To those who really think that the actor is aware of a reality that is terrible and disturbing, which concerns us all. As far as I'm concerned, my opinion is somewhere between these two different theories. I believe that such a traumatic event as the death of a loved one can deeply affect a person, and it can have consequences on their way of thinking and acting. But at the same time, Jim is not simply crazy, but wants to send a message. The problem is that this message is too unfathomable, or maybe it's simply incomprehensible to most of us. At least for now. Now, as always, I leave the floor to you. What do you think about this interview with Jim Carrey? Do you think he's crazy, or do you think he wanted to tell us something important? What do these metaphors mean? Let me know in a comment. Finally, I want to let you know that if this video reaches at least 10,000 likes, I will make another one in the future where I will talk to you specifically about the New World Order. If you like the topic, don't forget to leave your like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, or share it with your friends. Greetings and see you in the next video. L'inspiegabile.